What we now know, in a ruling that was just passed down shortly before we came on the air, Fulton County Superior Court Judge Scott McAfee ruling this morning that Fani Willis must either step aside from the case against former President Donald Trump, or she must fire the guy she was sleeping with, Nathan Wade. Now, do you understand? Either way forward is a mockery of our justice system. Straight clown stuff. So here's the case. This is where we're at now. So the court found that Fani Willis, this is crazy, and the guy she was sleeping with. Sorry, guys. I know that's strong language. See, sometimes you listen to conservative radio thinking you're going to have this nice, buttoned-up guy who's going to lead you down the path to some kind of a conversational redemption. Wrong. This is a house of ill repute. We mean well, but Fox Across America best described as wholesome smut.
He's a lousy dad, but he's right.
It's wholesome. We behave within the boundaries of reason, but the news we're covering is not wholesome. It's smut. It's disgusting. So Fani Willis was sleeping with a guy, Nathan Wade, 3 years before they launched the prosecution into Donald Trump. Okay, the only problem is she lied about the nature of that relationship under oath, and so did he.
He should be behind bars.
Now, technically, they both should. They both should be tried for perjury. They both should have their law licenses at the very least reviewed. They should probably be revoked if you want to restore any faith in this prosecution whatsoever. But that was never the goal. The goal is not faith in institutions. The goal is not we've got to get elections. The goal is get Donald Trump.
When you're right, you're right, and you're right.
That is the goal. Get Donald Trump. So basically what happened is Fani Willis hired Nathan Wade, guy she was sleeping with, a man who had never tried a felony case, meaning he's unqualified. He has never taken on a trial at this level, let alone the magnitude of case that could determine the outcome of a United States presidential election. We now take an ambulance-chasing lawyer and put him in charge of prosecuting a president of the United States who, oh, by the way, we've never prosecuted a president in the 247-year history of this country.
What the hell is the world coming to?
And we now know that that case was essentially brought because Fani Willis, Nathan Wade, who traveled together. Oh, yes, they did. Oh, you know they did. They traveled to the White House. They traveled to the White House and met with the White House before deciding to bring the case.
That's not right.
It already has a whiff of impropriety, but you understand they traveled to the White House together because they were having an affair. The affair was being paid for by the taxpayers' dollars. The decision to authorize and prosecute this case against Donald Trump meant that Nathan Wade, a guy who was making fine money, I'm sure, was suddenly dealt in, okay, despite the maximum rule. Okay, the maximum rule for a prosecutor on that case was that they could work 60 hours a month for a total, according to the authorization, of $400,000 a year, which is very good money by any definition. That is great money. So Nathan Wade could only make, not only, but could make $400,000 a year. That's where his income was capped. But Fani Willis paid him $650,000.
Well, we're moving on.
Oh, girl, taxpayer money, baby. An extra $250,000. Say what you want about Nathan Wade, but the guy was apparently pretty good in the sack.
What the hell did you just say?
I mean, if she's paying him an extra $250,000, she enjoyed their time together.
I think he's got a point.
Is it ever? And the point is, this is a tainted prosecution that makes a mockery of our justice system. And they lied under oath about the relationship. Okay, the judge called it a tremendous lapse in judgment. The rest of us call it perjury.
Bingo.
Here's Paula Reed on CNN of all places. CNN!
CNN is the worst.
But to her credit, okay, she does at least speak to the reality of the judge's findings. Okay, here's Paula Reed saying this is a gift to Trump in the optics battle, clip 2.
And look, even though she's going to stay on the case,
all of this, especially this language from the judge, and we're just skimming the opinion right now, I'm sure there's likely more, it's really a gift to former President Trump and his co-defendants, because they're not only going to fight this case on the merits, they fight it in the court of public opinion. Optics here matter. He has tried to undermine trust in the justice system, and if you have a judge who's overseeing a case calling the prosecutor, again, unprofessional, saying that she made a bad decision, she had a lapse in judgment, that is a lot of ammunition for the former president and his co-defendants.
Straight up, okay? Because nobody, no matter where this case goes now, is going to believe in the integrity of the prosecution. We now know these two were hooking up, used the taxpayers' dollar to subsidize it, launched an investigation into a former United States president, paid her side piece, her boy toy, an extra $250,000.
That is balderdash and hogwash and
Straight up it is. Okay, and the fact that they lied about the nature of their relationship under oath is perjury. So you understand this is a tainted prosecution. Even if they find Trump guilty, his supporters aren't going to go, well, they convicted him in Georgia. I guess I better walk away from this one. I got news for you, man. They have hardened Trump's support with all of these prosecutions, with the lawfare, with the weaponization of our justice system. Whether you like Trump or you hate Trump, okay, I'm telling you because I care. The rougher the legal system gets with him from here, the stronger his support is going to be.
Oh, you're right. And when you're right, you're right. And you're always right.
Okay, understand. The judge found they both misled the court. The judge's decision is that one of them must go.
That's stupid. Use your common sense.
Why is it stupid? Because they both committed a crime. Imagine we both rob a bank, cops pulled us over and goes, all right, one of you is going to jail. We got video of you both robbing the bank, each have a gun, you each get a bag of money, each have a ski mask on, here's both of you taking it off, here's both of you getting in the car. Well, we caught you in that car and one of you has got to go to jail. Okay, if they both committed the crime, they both got to go to jail. If they both misled the court, they both got to come off the case. So the idea that they're letting Fani Willis stay on this case can only taint the integrity of whatever verdict the court arrives at. And I think that is where Jonathan Turley, okay, over here at Fox News on America's Newsroom, gave probably the best summation of the cloud hanging over this trial going forward. It's clip 4.
It's like, finding two people in a bank vault and taking one off to jail. I mean, the question is, the appearance problem that the judge identified with regard to Wade was directly related to his relationship with Willis. They both testified in the same way. They were the two parts of this relationship. And yet only one of them was disqualified. And so that's going to lead to these questions. I mean, well, why should Willis escape that same penalty? The opinion leaves us feeling like the court went and shot the wounded.
Yep, straight up. Okay, and I do want credit because we had not heard the Jonathan Turley soundbite. And I made the analogy. This is like two people are robbing a bank. They both get caught and one of them gets let go. I want credit that my community college degree, I know this might be egotistical of me. I might even sound insecure. I'm sorry. Okay, I want credit that my little community college brain had the same analogy as the best legal analyst in the world. I am taking the credit.
You're a loony.
I might be, but that's why I want the credit. Loonies like me don't normally get it, nor do we deserve it. But here's more analysis. Here's Andrew Weissman over at MSNBC. They hate Republicans as a brand. They hate white people. They hate Trump. Here he is saying Fani Willis has to get off the case. Clip 6.
The key here is how to go forward, because clearly Wade is off. But I think that this is such a huge body blow, almost a fatal blow to Fani Willis. I think the way forward is she has to voluntarily recuse herself. I don't know that she has it in her, but I think she has to say, I'm going to appoint a chief assistant who's going to oversee this case. She clearly has no credibility with this judge.
Yep, no credibility at all. And Ellie Honig over at CNN took it a step further and said it could be the end of her career. Clip 8.
There's a, quote, significant appearance of impropriety that infects the prosecution team. Second, a tremendous lack in judgment. Third, the unprofessional manner of the DA's testimony. Fourth, the odor of mendacity remains. I Googled mendacity. It means lying. Fifth.
Already knew order. That's
right. Fifth, the legally improper speech that was made in the church that Laura just talked about, legally improper with the effect to cast racial aspersions on the defendants. Sixth, the DA has created dangerous waters for the DA to wade further into. And finally, and I think this is the most damning, there are reasonable questions about whether the DA testified untruthfully. Any one of these statements by a judge would be a career ender. For a normal prosecutor to have an on-the-record finding that there are reasonable questions about whether you lied under oath, that would be devastating.
So, in a normal situation, that really would be the end of a career. In this situation, it won't. Because the concern here is not about ethics. It's not about norms. It's not about propping up the integrity of our justice system. The concern here is getting Donald Trump. Okay, you need to know that. And it's bad for the country if you're a liberal, you're a Republican, you're an independent. If people don't believe our justice system is legitimate, and people don't respect its rulings, we actually lose the rule of law in a country. Have you ever seen what it looks like in a country where they lose the rule of law, where they don't respect true authority? Okay, we saw what it felt like in the summer of 2020 when they fraudulently accused the cops of being racist, just indiscriminately killing minorities for sport. Nobody has any data to back that up. Cops shoot a lot more white people than any other ethnic group, despite white people not being the majority in the world, okay? They shoot more unarmed white people than any other ethnic group, again, despite the stats working against them worldwide. But understand, okay, that when we went after the cops and started lighting police stations on fire and looting stores and saying we were doing this in the name of some type of racial progress, we caused $10 billion worth of property damage and killed 42 people. And we were told with a straight face, no, you don't understand. This is what progress looks like.
Sell crazy someplace else. We're all stocked up here.
Does anybody have any progress to show for the summer of 2020? No. You know, a lot of people, thankfully, have recognized the importance of police. Not enough people. A lot of cops are still fleeing the force because they don't feel like society has their back. Okay, but it only makes it harder on those rank and file cops to bring cases. Okay, to hold bad guys accountable when the court system itself doesn't have the respect of the people that it's actually ruling on. Okay, and that's the Fani Willis story in a nutshell. Okay, this is a woman who was essentially financing a love affair by prosecuting a former president of the United States. She could have had some concerns with his behavior, but the fact remains there's no way this case is getting brought if it isn't some type of upward mobility for her and her lover. You know, so the bad news, you know, good news scenario that plays out here, you know, goes like this. You know, Fani Willis, okay, is free to stay on the case. That's the good news if you hate Trump. But the bad news, okay, for Fani Willis, you know, is the Trump haters, okay, they're counting on some type of a conviction. But knowing Fani Willis, she just wants a hung jury.